The DA leader Helen Zille has described today's handing over of the spy tapes as a victory for the country's legal judiciary since 1994. Zille says they will now apply for a review of a decision which led to the withdrawal of corruption charges against President Jacob Zuma in 2009. She received the tapes from the NPA in the North Gauteng High Court this afternoon. This comes after President Jacob Zuma lost his legal bid to deny the DA the tapes in the Supreme Court of Appeal last week. The court ruled that the recordings be handed over to the DA within 5 days. Other related documents that could include internal memoranda, reports and minutes of meetings that make reference to President Jacob Zuma's confidential representations on the matter will be handed over to retired Judge Neil Hurt to arbitrate their relevance to the DA's court case. The recordings were used as a reason to drop corruption charges against President Jacob Zuma in 2009. Well, our reporter Motlanyane Depoko is in Pretoria. He joins us now on the line. Motlanyane, quite a gathering there. Has the NPA actually handed over those so-called spy tapes to Helen Zille?
Good afternoon. What I can tell you is that Helen Zille has just arrived here at the Pretoria High Court, now meeting with the NPA. The DA lawyers and the NPA lawyers are meeting inside with the judges in the Pretoria High Court to try to hand over this tape to Zille. We have received information from the DA that they are expecting the tapes in a few minutes from now. All I can say is that before she went into the High Court, DA leader addressed hundreds of her supporters outside the North Gauteng High Court. Zille, accompanied by her party leader John Motley, described today's handing over of the so-called spy tapes as a historic victory in South Africa's democracy. She said President Zuma spent almost 10 million rand of South African taxpayers' money to fight for the tapes in the past 5 years.
Motlanyane, when she was addressing the crowds, did she discuss the way forward? It's a 5-year wait. It's finally over. So what was actually said before she went in to receive the so-called spy tapes from the NPA?
She said they are going to ask their forensic experts to conduct their own investigation on the tapes to check if they're not being tampered with. And she also promised that after they have received this tape, they will now apply for a review in the same High Court to make sure that a decision which was taken by the NPA in 2009 is reviewed in the court. Because she says that there's information to the effect that the whole thing was political, it was not legal, and therefore that decision which dropped charges against President Jacob Zuma in 2009 will have to be reviewed, and President Zuma will have to come and answer in court every day in court, as he has been calling for the past 5 years.
All right, Motlanyane, we'll leave it there. That's our reporter Motlanyane Depoko live from Pretoria for the NPA's handing over of the so-called spy tapes to DA leader Helen Zille.